Good day, class. This is the Swiss cheese model, which I would like you to really understand. It'll be used a lot further when we get into process safety and other examples. It was invented by Professor James Reason, and on the left-hand side of the screen is the ideal version of an SMS, where every barrier or control that we put in place to prevent accidents from happening works perfectly. I'll use the procedure as an example. If we have a procedure in place and we are following it to the letter every time, it prevents the hazard, it catches the hazard before it escalates into an accident. But as we all know, we don't follow procedures all the time perfectly. People are naturally prone to cut corners and take shortcuts. So over here, it's real life, and what happens is each procedure that we put in place, there are imperfections because people cut corners or take shortcuts. In my examples here, I'm going to use maybe a barrier of wearing PPE, personal protective equipment. Now PPE, maybe you have your sleeves rolled up on your boiler suit, or you're not wearing your goggles, or you're not wearing some kind of PPE properly. And that is a problem. And that barrier if it was used perfectly, would defend against the hazard, but because you're taking shortcuts, those are holes in your barrier and allows you the chance to get hurt. Maybe another barrier might be in place, might be a risk assessment, and to identify the risk to you so you would wear your PPE properly. But during the toolbox talk, the risk assessment was not discussed and the hazards were not highlighted, and therefore you are totally oblivious to them, which allows the hazard to escalate yet again further. Okay? Maybe the third barrier could be something procedural, maybe like a permit to work. If the supervisor is not following the permit to work to the letter and he's just ticking the boxes and not implementing all the procedures within the permit to work to make you safe, then all of a sudden, bam, the hazard gets a chance to escalate again. Our final barrier, let's say in this particular example, could be people. If we have experienced people, then this barrier would be more solid and would identify the problems of not wearing the PPE, not using the risk assessment and the faulty ticking the boxes of the permit to work. But if we use inexperienced people, that is a hole in our barrier, and therefore they don't see these problems, and again, yet the hazard escalates into an accident. So therefore, we understand that each barrier that we use, whether it's procedural, hardware, or whatever it is imperfect. Therefore, we try to have as many barriers in place to prevent the hazard from escalating, and so the holes do not line up, and the hazard does not escalate into an accident. And that is the basic premise of the Swiss cheese model. Thank you very much.